The dawn of a new era in rock 1984, a year when the world was on the cusp of massive change. The music scene was about to witness an explosion of sound, emotion, and creativity. But what truly made this year stand out? It wasn't just the glam, the hair, or the fashion. It was the albums that came out in that year, the albums that pushed the boundaries and set the tone for an entire generation. The first album that immediately comes to mind when talking about 1984 is Van Halen's 1984. It was more than just another rock album. It was a declaration of intent. The opening track, Jump, became an anthem that transcended generations. Eddie Van Halen's iconic synthesizer riff changed the way rock music was perceived, blending the raw energy of rock with electronic sounds. This was more than just music, it was a movement. But it wasn't just the sound of the album that was revolutionary. The imagery, the attitude, and the sheer bravado of the band captured the rebellious spirit of the time. It was clear that Van Halen wasn't just a band. They were pioneers, leading the charge into a new era of rock music. And in 1984, they had the world at their feet. The return of the Masters, born in the U.S.A. In the same year, another legend returned to the forefront of rock, Bruce Springsteen. His album Born in the U.S.A. wasn't just an album, it was a statement. Springsteen had always been known for his storytelling, but this record took things to a whole new level. Songs like Dancing in the Dark and the title track captured the struggles and hopes of a generation, resonating with both blue-collar America and the world beyond. The blend of rock and a bit of pop flair made this album incredibly unique. It wasn't just about the music, it was about the experience, the story, the raw emotion that Springsteen poured into every note. Born in the U.S.A. became an anthem for the disillusioned, the dreamers, and the working class. It was a rallying cry that still echoes through history. The unstoppable force of Reckless. Another album that shaped the landscape of rock in 1984 was Bryan Adams' Reckless. This wasn't just a collection of songs. It was a snapshot of everything that made rock music so irresistible in the 80s. From the anthemic Run to You to the heart-wrenching Heaven, Reckless displayed Adams' ability to capture the essence of rock and roll, with a mix of gritty passion and melodic hooks. The album didn't just dominate the charts, it became a defining moment for Adams and for rock in the 1980s. He wasn't just a musician, he was a storyteller, capturing the essence of young love, desire, and the pursuit of freedom in a way that made Reckless a classic. It was the soundtrack of a generation, the one that would live on in memories for years to come. A new wave of power, Purple Rain. But let's not forget the revolutionary sounds of Prince. Purple Rain, the soundtrack to the film of the same name, pushed the boundaries of what rock music could be. The genre-bending album blended rock, pop, funk, and even a bit of new wave, creating a sound that was uniquely Prince. The title track, Purple Rain, became a defining anthem for many, but it was the sheer musical genius behind the entire album that made it stand out. Prince didn't just create an album, he created an experience. With his bold guitar solos, deep lyrics, and unparalleled production, Purple Rain made it clear that Prince wasn't just a musical icon. He was an artist who could redefine genres. The rise of Look What the Cat Dragged In. While the legendary icons were dominating the scene, another group was about to change the face of rock forever. Poison, with their debut album Look What the Cat Dragged In, brought glam rock into the mainstream like never before. This wasn't just about big hair and outrageous fashion. It was about energy, attitude, and fun. Songs like Talk Dirty to Me and I Won't Forget You captured the essence of 80s excess, power ballads, catchy riffs, and infectious energy. Poison proved that rock didn't have to be all angst and rebellion. It could also be about having a good time, living life on your terms, and partying hard. They didn't just capture the spirit of the time, they helped create it. A silent revolution, Ride the Lightning. In the world of metal, 1984 was a year of unparalleled significance. Metallica's Ride the Lightning wasn't just an album, it was a milestone. The band was transitioning from their thrash roots to a more polished, yet still aggressive sound, and Ride the Lightning showcased that shift perfectly. Songs like Fade to Black showed Metallica's depth, blending hard-hitting metal with emotional, almost classical moments. The title track's speed and power became a benchmark for future metal bands, proving that thrash could be both fast and musically complex. Metallica was making their mark, and 1984 was the year the world began to pay attention. The end of an era stopped making sense. 1984 wasn't all about new beginnings. It was also about celebrating the end of an era. Talking Heads' Stop Making Sense was more than just an album. It was a statement about the evolution of art and music. It was a live performance captured in its most raw and pure form. The album, and the subsequent concert film, showcased a band at the peak of their creative powers. Talking Heads weren't just making music, they were creating art. The album's quirky rhythms, layered vocals, and unique melodies made Stop Making Sense a definitive work of the 80s. It wasn't just about rock. It was about pushing boundaries and seeing what could be achieved when music was allowed to evolve freely. The everlasting influence, 1984 and beyond. Looking back, it's clear that 1984 was more than just another year in rock history. It was a year that birthed albums that would go on to shape the sound and culture of the decades to come. Each of these albums wasn't just a reflection of the times, they defined them. Whether it was Van Halen pushing the limits of sound, Springsteen's Anthem for the Working Class, Bryan Adams capturing the spirit of romance, or Prince's genre-defying masterpiece, 1984 gave us an incredible range of rock that continues to influence music today. It was a year of rebirth, reinvention, and relentless energy. And these albums? They didn't just make 1984 the greatest year in rock. They made rock itself an indomitable force for generations to come.